I pick up the phone. He says, "What are you doing?" I catch my breath and I say, "I'm looking for these two people and I'm going to end this guy if I find him." And he says, "Listen, I know that guy. And if ending that dude's life today is what has to happen, know that I'm your brother and I will help you bury him. But before we go down that road, how is your amends going with your grandmother?" Welcome back to the Struggle and Strive podcast. My name is Estil Wallace. I'm your host. We're on to step 10 today, which is continue to take personal inventory and when we were wrong, promptly admitted it. This is a step that I would say has saved my life, definitely my sobriety, and probably my freedom on more than one occasions. The way it operates, it's sort of like steps 4 through 12 in one short, repeatable step that can be done at any time. The idea is that it doesn't really need a lot of paperwork. You don't have to actually write an inventory. Some people like to, and that's fine. Let me explain how it works in daily practice. So I continue to watch for selfishness, dishonesty, resentment, and fear, right? Just watching my serenity meter. If I start getting pissed off or frustrated or overwhelmed or into anxiety and fear, there's something going on, right? This is an opportunity for me to pray, ask God to remove it, then talk about it with somebody immediately, preferably somebody that's familiar with the 12 steps. If not, that's okay too. This isn't an effort to get conflict resolution. This is an effort just to get it off my chest, get it out of my head and air it out. This thing was bothering me. I asked God to remove it. This is what's been going on with me, Danny. I've got this thing going on. Then we just talk about it. Danny doesn't have to have the answers. Just by getting it out of my head and talking about it really takes a lot of the wind out of its sails. Then I make amends quickly if I've harmed somebody. Then I turn my thoughts to somebody I can help. So it might feel a little rigid or robotic the first time or two that you try it, but doing this on a daily basis, every time you get a little out of whack, ask God to take it away, discuss it with a trusted friend, turn thoughts to somebody you can help. You get used to it. Just like every one of these exercises we've talked about in this series, step 10 is very much a muscle that if you practice with it, it's going to strengthen, it's going to get more resilient, and it'll be like second nature. When something bothers me, I pray immediately. I pick up the phone, I talk to somebody, I make amends quickly. If I harm somebody, most of the time I don't wander around the city harming people on a general daily basis. It happens on occasion. And if I do, I want to own up to it right away, make amends quickly, then turn my thoughts to somebody I can help. How can I be of service today? So in daily practice, if something pisses me off or I get into fear or anxiety about something, I stop what I'm doing. I say a quick prayer. God, please take this away from me so I can be of maximum use to you and to my fellows. I pick up the phone. I call somebody, get it off my chest. And then I turn my thoughts to somebody I can help, somebody I can be of service to. And that motion is really a muscle that I've exercised for a lot of years. In my daily life today, where things are a lot more stable and I have not only have the foundation, but I also have a structure of a full life built around me, I don't find myself, in the fray, so to speak. But in my first couple of years where I was still learning healthy boundaries, I was still learning how to reparent myself, I was still learning how to be a good human, I got to tell you, this step probably saved my freedom and my sobriety more than a few times. I'll give you a pretty gnarly example out of my personal experience. So I won't name any names. Hopefully none of you know these people. I had a person very close to me in the program when I was newly sober that I looked up to and had helped me quite a bit. This person and the young woman I was dating at the time, and we were living together, they ended up on a crack run together. So my live-in girlfriend and a man I know in the program ended up hooking up out on the streets for a week smoking crack. God knows what happened with God knows who. You can imagine. So she came back home. There was a lot of tears and arguing. And within a couple of hours, the obsession to use was on her so badly she didn't even stay. She went back to the streets. So you can imagine what kind of turmoil a young person in their 20s trying to make relationship work might do in a situation like that. And I was driving around the crack neighborhood in central Phoenix with a baseball bat with intentions to make life-altering decisions. And, convincing myself that, if I end up in prison, I can carry the message to people behind the wall, and I'll be of service to God and his people if I have to while I'm in prison, because I'm not going to allow this to happen. Well, I had been trained by doing the 10-step just enough. I was about a year and a half sober when this happened. I had been trained by doing the 10-step daily with a few different friends that finally, I'm already in the crack neighborhood with a Louisville Slugger driving around. And all of a sudden, like, I get a lucid moment and I'm like, oh my gosh, I should call. I need to pray and call somebody. I sort of say like an angry prayer, like, God, if this isn't your will for me to crack this dude open like a can of soup, you better do something. And I pick up the phone. I call a buddy who had been there for me a lot of times. He doesn't answer. I called my sponsor. He didn't answer. And I think I called someone else. And then I throw my phone in the car in frustration, but didn't break because only a moment later it rang, and it was the first guy I called. I'm still acquainted and friends with this guy today. I pick up the phone. He says, "What are you doing?" I catch my breath and I say, "I'm looking for these two people, and I'm going to end this guy if I find him." And he says, "Listen, I know that guy, and if ending that dude's life today is what has to happen, know that I'm your brother, and I will help you. I will help you bury him. But before we go down that road, how is your amends going with your grandmother?" And I was like, I don't know. She asked me to keep doing what I was doing and been trying to take her on dates. He's like, "Did you take her on a date yet?" And I was like, "Well, I took her on a lunch date the other day." He's like, "Where'd you take her?" And all of a sudden he's got me talking, and he's got me in gratitude, and he's got me, stepping off the ledge. And by the time we got done talking, I was parked in front of the halfway house where I got sober a year and a half earlier. And he asked me, he said, "Where are you?" And I said, "I'm in front of the Solution." That was the name of the place. And he said, Are you safe there?" And I said, "Yeah." He said, "All right, man, call me back if you need to." And I got out of the car. Surprisingly, I had harmed no one, maybe myself. I got out of the car and I offered somebody a cigarette, and I tried to make myself of service to newly sober people at that time. I tell you that story, my life isn't filled with moments like that at 20 years of recovery. I've got a family, and I've got multiple businesses, and I've got a lot going on, and it's all really, really good. I'm not driving around looking for anybody. But I don't know what your situation's like. I don't know where your starting point is. And I don't know what circumstances might push you over the edge to do something, life-altering. It's not that uncommon for people to make, as my friend Saad likes to say, permanent decisions around temporary feelings. And so this tool, let's say things are calm in your life right now, my suggestion is get used to handling this tool. Pick it up, even if traffic pisses you off. If your wife says something to you the wrong way, if your boss says something to you the wrong way, like, use that opportunity. Get used to doing step 10. Pray, ask God to remove the negativity. Discuss with another person. Turn thoughts to somebody you can help. That one little process might just save your life, might just draw you into a better relationship with God. That's pretty much it for step 10. If you've got more questions or want us to go deeper, please leave them in the comments, and we'll do our best to get back to you, perhaps make another video. Looking forward to seeing you guys in step 11.